So Jess, people have been DMing us on Instagram like crazy recently with one common question, which is when to take a side hustle and make it your full-time job. Yeah. And so I think today let's dive into, the evolution of a startup and a small business and just talk through maybe when is a good time to actually make that leap.
Yeah, we see the same thing time and time again. People build up their side hustle. It gets really quite popular, starts to grow. Mm-hmm. But they're stuck at their old, probably a 9 to 5 typically, a job that takes 40 hours a week away from them. And that's a really tough spot to be in. If you're working on a side hustle 20 hours a week, 40 hours at the 9 to 5, you're in a really tough spot.
Yeah, but I guess that is what it takes, isn't it? Like, because you have to have some income coming in to be able to support that passion and that side hustle that you have. So you kind of find yourself in a bit of a sticky point or a sticking point. Where, you have to make a decision of, do I keep, continue to work full time and, or do I, get can be very scary, but do I take that jump and make that leap of faith?
Definitely. I think, we coined that term leap of faith here because you're stuck doing one thing. And the reason, you're staying at that 9 to 5, you got bills to pay, you live a certain lifestyle that you want to fulfill. You don't want to just go cold turkey on that job, leave a solid weekly wage for your side hustle that might be in a differing sort of stage depending on who you are. So that's really important to say straight off the bat if you're listening. There is no blanket statement. We're not here to tell you at 100 sales in, this X, Y, and Z analytics, you should leave your job. That's never the case. Every brand's different, offers a different service, goods. It's all it's horses for courses, one of my new favorite sayings. So Jack, let's dive in and look at the different scenarios that majority of brands find themselves in.
Yeah, in terms of when they're making the leap.
Yeah, when they're weighing it up, when they're just looking and going, okay, my passion doesn't lie at this 9 to 5 or this secondary job that I've been sitting in. My passion lies within this new this new side hustle, I guess.
Yep. And
they're aware of that. So when do you recommend they dive in?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Jesse. And I think it's obviously different for everyone, but in terms of, I think it comes back to time and the demand that the side hustle is putting on you in a time sense. So I guess, as you start a business and it starts as a side hustle and it's this little small thing and then it starts to naturally grow over time, the more you feed it and the more work you put in. And then I suppose that point where I think it's really crucial to make that leap is once you're having opportunities come up that you're having to turn down because of that time commitment to that full-time job, that would really benefit maybe the side hustle business and, take it to new heights and explore new opportunities. I think that's the time where you really got to sit down and think about, all right, like what does that look like?
What am I missing out on?
What am I missing out on by saying no to these opportunities right now?
Couldn't agree more. I think with that said, you also don't want to make the premature jump,
Correct.
Where you've made 10 sales, you've just started an Instagram account and you're going, I'm just going to leap in. Like I'm leaving my 9 to 5 because mind you, again, horses for courses. You might be a young person that's living at home, no overheads, no food bills, no car. So no expenses essentially.
Yeah.
And leap around as much as you like.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of hidden costs and things you don't account for when you do go all in that are bound to catch you off guard. So you definitely want to make sure that you have some type of foundation set up there, whether it's financial or just from a time perspective.
3 months doesn't sound like a really long time, but when we're doing 3 episodes a week, it's been very jam-packed. And guys, we're having so much fun. The love you're showing, we just love doing this. And even more so when we're seeing people start their own businesses just off the back of this podcast.
Yeah, it's been incredible, Jesse, this journey so far, seeing all the love that's coming in and all the great feedback and people doing amazing things, because of a conversation which we've had, which is just incredible to us. And all we want to do is just keep this thing rolling. So if you guys can help us out in any way, that'd be appreciated. Please give us a follow, just a tap of the finger. I think it's 1 second, if that. You guys are all quick with your fingers these days. So give us a tap, give us a follow, and we'll keep this thing going for you guys. But yeah, back to your point, that there is no right time to do it. Success isn't linear. It could be an event or a moment that just comes out of nowhere and you're like, holy shit, this is the moment. I got to jump.
Yeah. I think that, everyone looks for that perfect time to jump. Again, there's no analytics that are going to show you. I think you got to follow your gut a little bit, and it's a combination of things. If you're really struggling at your old job and, you know, you stale the environment there, that's a clear indicator that and you can't put a dollar figure on that, by the way, Joe.
No.
Like that's everything for me.
Yeah.
If you're at a job that you just don't feel settled, you don't feel like it understands you, leave that. Like, for more or less, get out of that place.
Well, Jess, you're a big, you really believe in going all in on one thing, and you think the value of doing that is, exponential. Like once you are all in, not just in a mindset and physical capacity, but just the possibilities are endless when you.
Endless. Every conversation you have is centered around you doing one thing that you believe in, and people start to take you very seriously.
Yeah, they do.
You no longer walk in rooms and start telling this story how you love photography, but you're actually working 50 hours a week, you're doing IT or something even more, opposite.
We've seen that a lot, probably more recently in the last few months, like having conversations with people, and because we are all in, people take us a lot more seriously. So that is something to consider as well, definitely.
Definitely, like with our wholesale brand, we're meeting new brands every week, probably 5 or so, and when they hear that this is our number one passion, there's no stones unturned because we're working pretty much 7 days a week, there's automatically that
respect, I think, as well.
Respect is the key word.
Yeah.
So I think that you can't put another dollar figure on that either.
For sure. And so once you've made that leap of faith, you've done it, you've taken the risk, you're probably pretty scared, unsure about it.
Well, yeah, I would also say don't wait too late, because if you keep waiting, it's been a few years or something like that, the thing is you start plateauing. You're actually shortchanging your business. As you said, there's probably opportunities there that you're just not putting enough time in to really grow those opportunities.
Comes back to, I think, to your point just there, I think it comes back to your gut. And you're going to know deep down, like when the time is and when you probably should. And although it might be really scary and you might feel uneasy about it, and it probably is premature, it's always going to be premature in a sense. But I think you have to really listen to your gut and be like, nah, I have to go now.
Yeah, well said. And the last thing I want to add about the leap of faith is a huge, huge part of this is, as we're habitual creatures, human beings, when you leave your 40 hours a week, that big part of your life, into an unknown commodity, which is probably your side hustle, it's going to create complete, sort of new habits, and just there's going to be stress there. That's challenges, absolutely, because you're used to driving to that job or catching the public transport, drinking the coffees at a certain time, having the same conversations with these certain people. You've built so many habits. Probably no bigger habit than that job in your life, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're working there full time.
Yeah, I would expect a transition period.
100%.
Yeah, it's not just going to happen. You're not going to flip a switch and then everything's going to be great and you're going to be working and everything's going to be coming at you. It's going to be much more up and down than that.
100%. You're now full time and you've got probably double to triple the amount of hours. And it's a huge leap of faith.
There you go.
So just make sure you're not too hard on yourself in that time, and be kind, because you're going to be very uncertain. I guess that's in short, what I'm trying to say.
So Jess, you've made the leap of faith. Where to next? What's the most important thing?
Well, what we see with brands that go really well after the leap of faith, they've left their jobs, all the uncertainties there, where they excel through that period is they have momentum. Number one word, keep it simple. They've got, if it's streetwear, they've got garments set up, ready to go.
Marketing campaigns
ready, maybe 5 or so shoots lined up back to back. And that's just how you do it. You've got to move consistently, because if you're not, and you're posting once every blue moon, no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah, you have to be ready to capitalize on moments, on different product drops.
On your newly found time.
Right, exactly.
Utilize it, right?
Correct.
And I think from that point, once you're taking yourself seriously, you're working really hard, you're probably in a point to hire. That's probably the next shoe to fall if you're going really well. But that's probably a conversation for another day, because we just think once you make that leap of faith, have your affairs in order, have some momentum.
Bit of a plan.
Organization. We've always said time, organization. These are the key pillars of business. That's why you hear it in almost every podcast. I think if you're organized and ready to execute, and you have a few goals on what that looks like, especially financially, how you're going to cut back on, maybe certain things.
How you're going to survive,
account for, probably the better phrase.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so momentum, huge up until that point where you got to make that call, make that leap of faith, and then momentum's almost even bigger after that to continue to just sustain that.
To come full circle here, I'd probably ask myself one question, and Jack's touched on it really well. It's, what am I missing out on at this job that I'm currently sitting in that if I left tomorrow, I could gain rather quickly going full time? So it's the opportunity cost. What am I missing out on? And the other key,
But what am I gaining?
And what am I gaining? Yeah, definitely. You need to look at that both sides. And the final point is what I said earlier. If you're unhappy in your 9 to 5, I keep calling it 9 to 5. I believe that's what most people would be working in. Any job. It could be part-time. Whatever the job is, if you're unhappy, I think you need to ask yourself, you can't put a dollar figure on that. It's probably worth making the leap of faith if you can.
I agree. Guys, hope we answered some of your questions.
Cheers.